Awesome. Just give me like a minute here. I'm trying to gather myself after a number of crazy meetings.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, I think I'm good. Let me just find this meeting on my calendar. There we go. All right, cool. So my name is Al Longmore. I'm a program manager here at Comcast for a number of different platform teams that we have here, mostly focused on OTT apps. I don't know if you're familiar with OTT, but that's essentially streaming. So we're on the app side, the hardware side, mostly focused on delivering a solution out to some of our partners for this September has been our main focus. But what this role is, and I'll walk you through a couple different things here, actually. I'm going to go through what this role is, ask you a couple questions, and then see if you have any questions for me.
Okay. So that's over the
Um,
that's over the top for like streaming, right?
Correct,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, so the teams that we have now that I'm working with now mostly are focused on that specifically. This team is focused more on our X-Class TV, and so basically that's rather than a mini set-top box like what we're doing now with a Roku or like a Fire Stick,
Hmm.
the TV itself is the device.
Oh,
So
nice, nice.
X that's what X-Class TV is. So that's what this initiative is focused on. So there's about two or three teams where they're focused on specific features delivering for this specific initiative, and that's what you would be ultimately responsible for. Some of these teams are self-organized, so they are running on their own, and they may be doing some things with a project manager, and they may be doing some things by themselves. It's sort of not well documented, not well something that I can walk you through immediately.
Okay.
So I'm generically saying that that's kind of how this is operating. So what we really this role is very project management oriented with some program management sprinkled in. So it would be working with our product owners to help prioritize backlogs and sprints.
Hmm.
with with this team specifically, the product owners are very involved with delivery. And I know that might sound strange, like why is he saying that? Because some teams that I've worked with, our product owners were very disassociated with the team and what we were doing.
Right.
Whereas these product owners are either some of them are running backlog grooming and sprint planning, right? So when I say that the team is self-organized, either the teammates are doing it or the product owner is doing it or the project manager is doing it, right? So
Right.
it's
Right.
sort of like a across the board and for all of these teams here. Some of the things that we're asking, or at least are the responsibilities of this role, are chasing dependencies and P0s. So P0s to this team are things that come in extremely hot from external sources or potentially internal sources.
Hmm.
But mainly it could be like a manufacturer defect where it requires a software update or a firmware update. Uh, those tend to come in extremely hot, and so people get a little bit crazy over, oh my God, we have P0s. But mainly it's trying to keep focus on number one, what the teams are doing, but also have a lens into what those P0s are. And if we need to move work around to get those taken care of, that's what we do.
Right.
Knowing the current state of all of our tickets and the next steps. So all of the teams like will have their own Jira board. So each one of
Hmm.
them's operating a totally, let's call it a silo, if you will, but they're not in a silo, right?
Right.
Just mainly from a technical breakdown perspective, that's where they are.
Correct.
Making sure that we're tracking all the delivery dates for all these specific items. So part of this, as I stated before, like there's external and internal sort of responsibilities. The external responsibilities are pretty high visibility, so keeping that communication open with all of our partners to make sure that they understand what our delivery looks like. I know that they're spinning builds for these specific platforms, whether it's a firmware build or a software build, rather weekly. And so part of the what the project manager was doing for this now is sort of a release management type thing, which I actually recommended that be moved to a tech lead or an architect on the team, someone with a little bit
Mic
more
off.
development experience. But that's we can get into that a little bit later. Just looking here, and then skipping over just a couple different things that I listed. One of the other things that we are working on right now, which I just
Mic
came out of
on.
a meeting on, is quarterly planning. So
Right.
right now, Comcast has a model in place where our delivery is based on quarterly plans. So we plan for each quarter. Right now, we're planning for Q2, and at the end of Q2, we'll plan for Q3, and so on and so forth.
Would each sprint be a quarter, or would it be?
No, so
No, okay.
each sprint. So the way that it's broken out is it's sort of like a top-down-ish portfolio approach where we have a team of product and program managers who are responsible for putting together what our quarterly plan looks like. That plan gets filtered down to the teams, and then the teams actually have an obligation to either commit or not commit to the work based on a number of different items like capacity or context or product state, things like that. And then and that's how our quarterly plan works. So we sort of roll that status back up to the portfolio team, who says they either accept what we provided back or they don't accept it based on a number of different things, like we're doing a product release this in the next quarter, we need to get this through end-to-end testing, so on and so forth. So it's sort of like a very elongated conversation about what a quarterly plan looks like. But I think it's gotten better over the last 6 months. So this is sort of like a new approach to how we've been trying to get our quarterly planning done. And before, I would say it was a little bit more free form and people were kind of just working off their own roadmaps. Now your roadmap needs to kind of consist of a more larger product view. So seeing where the product is going over the next couple quarters, which we have lenses into, and then aligning that more or less to a delivery plan for that specific quarter. Each sprint, though, is considered its own separate thing.
Okay.
For example, you could have an initiative with, let's say, 20 features across 30 teams, and those 30 teams are ultimately responsible for getting it done by the end of the quarter. However that happens, dependency management, all that is tracked by the product managers, program managers, respectively, and that's kind of how our process is today.
Okay, so it's kind of like a hybrid approach then.
Explain.
Well, yeah,
Go
it's
further.
like kind of like you're kind of mixing together the waterfall and agile methodologies like that.
No,
No.
straight agile.
Straight agile, okay.
I know the portfolio process may sound like a waterfall type process. Really, what it's trying to do is make sure that the teams understand the product roadmap and make sure that our product teams across the domains have the ability to break down some of the work into specific features for specific teams. So it's sort of waterfallish from that perspective. I will agree with you there, but the teams are operating in a full agile environment. So let's just put it this way. I feel like the portfolio process has gotten better, but I do agree that it does feel waterfall. However, I think the goal ultimately is just to make sure that across all of our domains, because it's so large, each leader needs to understand what their expected domains are going to be delivering. So this is like an easy way. I don't want to say it's hard. It's kind of an easy way to be able to say, from a quarterly perspective, here's what we know is going to happen, at least at the highest level possible. Someone is going to take these commitment states and roll them up to a leader, an ELT or an SLT, somewhere like that, and say, yeah, for this program, we're going to get the following things, and it'll be broken out, rather smallly for those leaders, for like an elevator pitch type thing.
Okay, so
But
that makes sense.
from a work breakdown perspective, it's very agile.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It makes it easier for the stakeholders to understand exactly what is going on in a way that they'd be more accustomed to seeing it.
And it also helps the teams understand, whether, I think engineering teams are primarily focused on what they want to do this sprint and next sprint, right? Like they don't necessarily, some of them might care, but some of them might not care about the larger view and where the product is actually going. So this gives you those inflection points to tell you, like, here's where we're focused this quarter, and as that initiative rolls off, the next one rolls on. So while we're working on maybe Hisense TV this quarter, next quarter might be Element TV, sprinkling in a little bit of the Hisense TV, and those are manufacturers of the TV. So yeah, it's I won't say it's perfect, but I think it's good enough. And I think everyone gets something out of it. At least from a program perspective, I feel like there's a lot more understanding of what's going on. We have a lot of context into what we're delivering, at least from a product and a product delivery perspective and a product roadmap perspective, helps program, I think. Maybe engineering, and I feel like this is one of the things that we got today was, this really doesn't help me. That's kind of what his comment was. And sure, I kind of agree with him, right? Because engineers aren't necessarily worried about the large view, but
Right.
the program needs to be able to have some sort of status readout. So that's kind of where this stuff fits in.
Yeah.
Any other questions about the role itself?
I mean, that's a very, very interesting setup and everything. So my initial goal would be working on, you said this, the XTV, the over the top soft streaming service, and I would be managing those teams working on that. Is that correct?
So right now, what the X-Class TV is a TV. So I'll tell you a little bit, maybe a little bit deeper about the role itself. So the need comes from, where we thought that this X-Class initiative was going is it was going to roll off, and we were going to have our teams be rolling on to something new for the X-Class TV. So right now it's on a specific software and firmware set that I don't want to call it legacy because it's actually in production, so it's not legacy, but it's not the most recent. Right now, most of the other teams are focused on this one product that we're going to be delivering to market in September. And what that experience is going to be moved to the X-Class TV. So that's the next steps with this. So this, like, again, I'll use the word legacy, but it's not legacy because this is literally our production environment today. But the current production environment that we have today is going to be replaced with something different. So the entire UI is going to get a reskin or a reimagination, and it's going to look and feel and act completely different than it does today. So that's where we thought that this product was going. However, what happened in the last couple months was we got some large purchase orders for these current production TV boxes. And so this has to continue now through at least the end of this purchase order. And so what that means is these teams are going to have to now continue to support or roll on at least an additional 100,000 plus TV units to specific department stores like Best Buy, for example, right? So where we thought this was going to go away, it's not going away now. So what that means is that the current teams are going to have to kind of stay focused on sort of, and I don't really want to speak for our leaders, but I'll at least put it this way. This project has to continue on at least until the PO orders stop coming in. What we do know, though, is that there's more interest in these than we actually thought. So
Okay.
not only did we just get a 100K purchase order, but there could be potentially more. So this role could extend longer than the 10 months that we think this is going to exist for. So that's a long way of saying that we have an immediate need for our X-Class teams, or X-Class TV teams, and we have to be extremely explicit about what product we're talking about. When we say TV, we actually mean a TV. When we say like our Zumo Stream Box, Zumo Stream Box is like our Roku stick. And I apologize, I'm saying X-Class, but it's actually called Zumo TV. X-Class is our old name. Everything was rebranded in the last 3-4 months or so to Zumo. So Zumo is our new model.
Okay, so yeah, it's called Zumo now, and that's what I would be kind of overseeing.
Yep, exactly. So it would just be keeping on our current states today, making sure that these teams have enough context to continue making sure that we're tracking across. And there's another whole stream of work I won't even get into because it's not rather important for this conversation, but part of the delivery stack is on what we call our RDK stack, and that's a culmination of a lot of different teams all building in the same spot, and we generate spin builds off of that to sort of mix all of our features together so that way it's the full product experience. But you would get introduced to that in a little bit later. I'm not going to dive in.
Okay.
So why don't you give me a little bit more information about your current role today?
Pretty much I'm still with Intuit, and pretty much what I work on is currently working on migrations, and there's one team working on the legacy and there's one team working on where we're migrating over to the cloud. And I kind of oversee that. And so that's kind of what I've been doing on a daily basis as a Scrum Master, and also have been with Intuit, had project manager roles as well, working directly with stakeholders and product owners, which relates directly to what we're talking about right now. And definitely have a lot of experience working with a lot of different personalities, both onshore and offshore. That's actually a great question. Should have asked. Is this a onshore and offshore team?
I believe it's all onshore with maybe a very small sprinkle of offshore, but I don't know that answer, so I'll have to defer that to a later date. But I'm fairly certain majority of these teams are onshore
Okay.
and in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay. So all at the same time zone. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I would definitely be comfortable with that as well. So yeah, but yeah, that's kind of my daily role. You know, the Scrum ceremonies, hosting those as well. The daily Scrum, communicating with anyone who has an issue afterwards, hosting any meetings to make sure we don't have any impediments, which kind of rolls over to the project manager role when the making sure that everything stays on schedule and it stays on budget, which seems to be a big thing. That from what you're describing, everything with the Zumo TV that is going on right now, making sure that we stay on schedule because all these purchase orders are coming in and it's more powerful than what you thought. So making sure the team can stay on that schedule, and if there are any impediment comes up, whether that's scope creep or an issue with some developers, that we get that taken care of as quickly as possible to just make sure we don't get off track, because that sounds like that would be a really, really bad thing for everything that you're already working on, and making sure that the communication is good between stakeholders, Scrum masters and team and developers on the team as well.
Awesome. Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. How about tell me some of the challenges you face every day and how you overcome them?
One of the big thing I feel in this line of work that is one of the biggest challenges is communicating, because not everyone has the same personality. Not everyone reacts to the same approach the same way. And you're sometimes going to talk to dozens and hundreds of people a day, and you will be communicating with different people from different cultures and backgrounds, where certain things are expected, certain things aren't. Someone might not like a certain approach. So the communication is always the most difficult. And it's always I think that's the most important thing for a project manager, is to be able to communicate, be able to listen and understand where someone is coming from. And if they have a personal issue going on, making sure everyone understands that, and how to take care of them as a person, but also how to make sure we take care of the project and make sure that stays on scope and schedule as closely as possible, and also on budget. So I would say that is one of the most difficult, challenging things, is to communicate well and be a leader with multiple different personalities that are working on multiple different things. I think that would definitely be it.
Awesome. How come you're looking for a new position?
I have the ability to extend the Intuit project at the end of the next month, but I wanted to keep my options open and see if there was something else I would like more, or just to see what was currently available right now with all the news and everything. So I've just wanted to keep my options open.
Okay, and I see that you're working with a company, I guess, Intuit in California. Is that where you're located?
Oh, no, I'm working remotely currently.
Okay.
I'm in
So
Greenville, North Carolina.
So you would be relocating for this specifically?
Yes, I would be willing to do that.
Okay. Are you interviewing anywhere else?
Yes, I've had multiple interviews and have a couple more lined up.
Okay.
No offers currently, but I don't know if those are going to be happening. I hope an offer comes from you, so that'd be nice.
Understood. Listen, I think the next steps are we should get you in for at least an hour interview with the team. So I would like to set that up immediately. I want to preface this by saying that I tried contacting our recruiter today about something specifically, and he came back with it out of office till next week. So
the guy that reached out to me?
Brian?
No, okay, no, I didn't talk to Brian.
Did someone else reach out to you?
I forgot their name, but yeah, I wasn't speaking to Brian's.
Or was it Justin?
No.
Okay.
So yeah, you wanted to, so you don't think we'll be able to set it up the next interview soon?
I'm gonna shoot our recruiter a note now to say we want to get this set up for as soon as possible. I'm assuming next week sometime.
Okay.
There's some other challenges we're having here. Not even just the meetings that we have this week, which is unbelievable. We have some of our teams traveling in California, so some of our leaders are out there. We have another leader who's on vacation, so it's just really crazy this week, to be honest with you. So I think the earliest we can get this set up is for either the 13th, 14th, or 15th. We're honestly trying to make a decision by the end of that week. So by the 17th, we're hoping to wrap up and have a decision made. But I really like everything so far. So I really want to get you in for an interview as soon as possible. But the recruiter, like I said, is out of office. So I'm going to reach out to him anyway. I'm just going to tell him, hey, we want to set this up with you. He may not contact you until the end of this week or early next week is what I'm saying here.
Okay.
So I would love to get you in at least Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday next week if we can find a time that works for everybody.
Yeah, that should work. I can, since you gave me advance notice, I can try to get that arranged whenever you are free.
Awesome. So I'm going to send that request over now. He's going to contact you to set up the time, and if you need anything else, you can reach out to him. Should be able to help you.
Okay. And do I just, if I don't hear anything back, do I just reach out to you?
Just hang tight. Reach him. He's going to be your POC.
Okay.
I don't really have any of your contact information, so all this is done through the recruiters. Let me just check something really fast because I'm going to shoot him a note to say something, and I want to see when his. All right, returning Monday 3/13. So he's not going to be back until the 13th.
Okay.
So he's going to contact you on Monday. I apologize. I know it's probably going to be like really hard for you to turn around and provide a time, but I would really love if you could. So maybe just try and work with him on it.
Yeah, actually, that's actually extremely convenient. So yeah, that will work perfectly.
Awesome. Well, look, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to talking to you next week sometime.
All right, sounds good.
Talk to you soon.
All
See
right,
ya.
see ya. That's at about 200 words.